the Nuggets jersey 5280.
Yeah,
That's the altitude.
yeah.
The score at one point was 52-80 Minnesota.
Uh, that's the Denver and Minnesota series, and yeah, so hey, it was so interesting to see OG and Pascal guard each other, like from the
Yeah,
Raptors
that
days
was
to,
fun.
and they're actually guarding each other and just trailing each other and just going one on ones. And I think you even said it's like imagine like all the times they faced off against each other in
In
practices.
practice, yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Ridgeway Pod. I'm your host Udoy, and we're back here with Ush. And welcome back everyone to another exciting episode. Today we'll be talking about the second round, well, the continuation of the second round of these NBA playoffs. We have 4 series ongoing right now. I think each series has 2 games played thus far. And yeah, we're just gonna do like a small roundup on each of the series, see what we're seeing from each team, what they can adjust, and just our thoughts on everything basketball essentially that's going on right now. So yeah, Ush, I guess we could start with the Eastern Conference, and
Yeah.
yeah, go for it.
So we can start with the Knicks and the Pacers series. That's a fun series that's been going on right now. Knicks are up 2-0 right now. Um, Thoughts on the series? This is a weird series to me because I feel like the Pacers have been playing really good basketball. Like Halliburton finally showed up for a game in these last 2 rounds combined. This is his first like really good game that he had last game, but even then they just couldn't get it done. Like we were talking about in the previous pod, it's just one of those series where it's like it's nice to be here for the Pacers. They have some flaws here and there. They have a bunch of flaws on the team, but they're a young team. They've been hooping as much as they can, but I just feel like um, New York is just such a well-rounded team right now compared to Indiana. Like if we look at Jalen Brunson's numbers, he was hurt. Yeah, he was hurt the other day. I think there was like a FanDuel prop of him for hitting 40 points again for like whatever it was, and he didn't hit it, but he still only played like 3 quarters or maybe 2.5 quarters and still had 30, which is insane. He's averaging 36, 4, and 5 right now on 56% shooting and 40% from the threes. Insane. But the unsung heroes of this series is the rest of those Villanova boys. Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo, both averaging above 20. Josh Hart is averaging 14 rebounds a game. And then they have OG as well, averaging 20. So, the Pacers' biggest issue this whole season was, look, we can't guard anybody. We're just going to score. That's, Carlisle's favorite thing to do. He loves scoring. He doesn't like playing defense. And this is showing again on the series.
Yeah, no, for sure. In terms of like, it's not a surprise that New York, the Knicks have the 2-0 lead. They're home as well, and I think they're just a better team all around. Like you said, OG. I think last time for the last series, you said that OG just keeps improving, and I think he's just getting more comfortable. It was so interesting to see OG and Pascal guard each other, like from the
Yeah,
Raptors
that
days
was
to,
fun.
and they're actually guarding each other and just trailing each other and just going one on ones. And I think you even said it's like imagine like all the times they faced off against each other in
In
practices
practice, yeah.
in Toronto. So yeah, that's cool. But I think like Halliburton, like he played so much better in this game. I think he hit like 7 threes and they were all
Mm-hmm.
in stride. And it looked like all-star game Halliburton again. He had like 34 points, and in like 9 assists. And then just like, I think they need to, like, it's weird because they need to learn how to like play in the flow of the game. And I think, and they all need to like play together. Like if Halliburton's good and Siakam's not good, I don't think it's going to get the job done. I do think random, but Obi Toppin was causing problems for the Knicks.
He
His
was going
energy.
crazy at the
Yeah,
end of the second quarter where they went on like an
yeah,
8-0 run. It was because of him.
yeah. So I'm just like pointing out little things here and there. Like they need to like put it all together. Like you
Mhm.
can't just have one person play good or 2 people have a good game and then the others just ball watch the whole time. And like for example, also I saw some news or some tweets I guess of like TJ McConnell should start for them, which I don't know if you should go that far and like make Halliburton the 2 guard, but
Yeah,
again, TJ McConnell is so like he's so good. He's just a
I think
high
I
IQ
think he's
basketball
been
player.
plus in all of the minutes he's played so far.
See, yeah.
Like
So
you know what I mean? Like
that's
in the
the thing.
entire playoffs, which is
Right.
insane.
If
I
you
don't.
Yeah,
Go
no
ahead.
problem.
Go ahead.
If you had a big three, it would be Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, and Halliburton. Two of those three have to give it their all each game if you want a chance at winning. And that's what I mean by 2 out of 3 and not 3 out of 3 is because there's only one ball. So obviously one person might have to take the back seat. Maybe the other person just plays defense and
Yeah.
just like figures that out properly. But if it's just one person doing it, everyone else and the other guys are just watching, I don't think they can beat the New York Knicks. Like the New York Knicks are just so locked in.
Well,
Injuries don't even matter to them. So
if you see it, like Pascal, like after the last series he had, and we were giving so much praise, this series, man, he's like dropped off like completely. He's not even averaging 20. He's at 16 a game right now on like 16% from three. And then Miles Turner as well is giving a bunch of shots last series, this series as well. He's averaging, I think, only 4.5 rebounds a game right now. Josh Hart is averaging 14 rebounds. 14.
wow.
Like the discrepancies. I feel like it's an effort discrepancy sometimes, like New York, they're just all the grinders and, they're just going to run around and do all the dirty work. And that's what gets them the wins, even in these close games. I have been seeing, I know you've been seeing it on Twitter and stuff, like all the controversial, like, ref calls and stuff like that. And I will say this, like, there is a credence to the fact that, like, when you play in New York, those refs kind of be playing with New York. You be seeing it, I'd be seeing it. Like, some of the calls, the ticky-tack calls, the 50-50 calls, always will go in New York's favor. So even with that, like, when you have that as well, it's hard to beat that team. Like, that team's really good. Like, I don't think there's not really it's not really some deep analysis with this one, right? It's like the Knicks are just a far better team. This is the 2nd seed. This is the 6th seed. This is what's supposed to happen. Maybe the Pacers can get a game because I think OG's out next game. So how much does that impact? Because OG had a crazy game last game. He had like 28 or something, I think.
Yeah,
or more.
He was insane.
So if that really impacts the Knicks, then I could see the Pacers pulling out, especially if they're at home. But for the future of this series, I don't think this series is gonna go any farther than it is.
Yes. So no, you're not wrong. I feel like OG is out and Brunson is a game time decision.
Right, he got injured too.
He got hurt. We saw like he was gone for like the whole thing. So that was interesting. So, but yeah, in this series, like we'll see how it goes. Right now, it's going exactly how you think it would go. New York just more organized and just their execution is so good. I feel like it, their opponents might not be up to their level, but they just, we'll see. We'll talk in the next series, in terms of just finishing it off. Like it is what it is. I think New York's in the comfortable lead. I think they're still going to end up winning the series. Like we said in the last episode or so, where if Indiana, just gets, I think the home court will help them. But I don't know how much it will, end up being helpful. So, so that's for the Knicks in the Indiana Pacers series. The next series we have is the other Eastern Conference matchup with the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, what are you seeing with that one?
Okay, so this one is an interesting one because, I really like the Cavs, and I think the Celtics are going all the way this year. I've been saying it all year. But after that last game yesterday, that was an insane game to watch. So these are my problems. I even took notes on the game because that's how crazy that game was to me. The Celtics have this problem with, and I feel like I mentioned this before in the previous pods, but it's an NBA league-wide problem where it's like they forget who their best players are, who to get the ball to. Like, they'll go possessions just without giving the ball to Tatum or giving the ball to Jalen. We'll see early shot clock threes from Derek White and Drew Holiday. And even Al Horford, there was this stretch of the game where Derek White took a three, bricked it. Cavs came, Spider goes, hits a shot. They come back down. Al Horford gets a shot, bricks it. Spider goes, hits a shot. Come back down again. Derek White takes another three. I think he almost airballs it. And then Spider goes, hits a step back three, and then they got to call a timeout because it was like a 9-0 run right there.
Jeez.
Like, the Celtics just have a problem with the all lives matter hoops. It doesn't work. You got to get to your best players because, look, we've seen Derek White have, stinkers. Like, we've seen it before. You know how I feel about Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is, since that 2018 series in the Pelicans, he has yet to have, like, a good playoff series. And it's once again, it's happening. Like, those early shot clock threes, the no calling a play, no set plays being had. They're just kind of flowing. I feel like Boston has this thing where it's like they're disinterested in playing the game. Like they're like, you know what, we want to lose, so then we can kind of get up for the next game and for the rest of this series.
Right.
So and then on the Cavs end, I think Donovan Mitchell might be the most underrated superstar in the league right now. I think him and Trae Young are 1 and 2, 1A, 1B are the most underrated players in the league right now because of how insane he's been playing. He's averaging right now in this series 31 a game, 31, 6 and 6 on 50% from 3, 50% from the field. The last game, yesterday's game, I think he only had 8 points or 11 points in the first half. And he finished with 33, I think that's what it was. 39 or something.
The last game you're saying?
Yeah, the most recent. Let me just
that's 29. He finished
29.
Yeah,
like he went crazy in the second half, but he also had 5 assists in the first half. He was just passing the ball. But the biggest X factor of this series, Donovan Mitchell also mentioned in the post-game interview, and we even mentioned it last episode when we were talking about it, is Mobley. Mobley finally, showed up. Like on the defensive end, he's been showing up. But on the offensive end, I've been trying to ask him to be more aggressive, I hit that 1-2 game with him and Spider where it was sensational. That's the one that kept him in the game the entire time. And then everybody else came along. DG finally showed up, He finally had a good shooting game, hitting threes. And I know Boston gives up threes, and I know people, say that. But I feel like it was a different type of loss than that Miami loss. It's a bit more worrying for the Celtics. But I don't think the series, it affects the series too much. I think the Celtics still won the series, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 6. I was saying 5, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 6, especially if Cavs take one more at home. My last point of it is Tristan Thompson loves playing in Boston. That's his favorite place to play. He's been played there. You saw him last night in that third quarter when Mobley got 4 fouls. He got 4 offensive rebounds in 4 plays. It was the most insane thing. He gets he gets up. He's a playoff vet. Vets matter. We saw Batum the other day. These vets, they just, Mike Conley, these vets, they just know how to play well. They know what to do to impact the game, even if it's not scoring.
Yeah.
But that's my two,
So for me, it's Donovan Mitchell. It's interesting because the whole status question you brought up, where it's is he a top 10 star? He's never in the conversations. Let's be honest, he's never in it. You go through your 5, then you start debating your the next 5, and I feel like he's never even in those. Just squeaking in, we'll just give it to him. And
they put Jimmy over him all the time.
Right, his stardom, his level of play is amazing. We see it. Yeah, sure, he didn't him and Rudy didn't get it done in Utah. But that's because they also ran into better teams. But him as a star, he is a game changer. If you have him on your team, whoever point of attack defender you have to guard him, I don't think it will matter. He's that good. When you talk about the Devin Bookers and Lucas and Shays, I think he can, offensive arsenal, he's up there with them. He just, Even
with just Spider alone. The way the media and everybody else hypes up Jamal Murray when he turns up for the playoffs.
Right.
It's Spider got better numbers. Spider got better numbers, and Spider does it in the regular season too.
Yeah. And Spider is the one. He's he's the Jokic of his team, right? Oops.
He's game planned every game.
Yeah.
That's him. And I will say the growth that he showed, in Utah, you mentioned it, they didn't have any success, but in Utah, he was also an immature player. And he didn't really try on defense, and he was kind of a black hole on offense. He was really a shooting guard where we're giving the ball, I'm gonna ISO, I'm gonna make something happen, but he really wouldn't get his team involved. This Spider that we see in Cleveland is a completely different Spider. Yeah. He's actively trying to get his team involved. He's actively working on the chemistry with his team. He's always hugging these guys, talking up these guys all the time. Yeah. So he's much more matured as a player now, and I don't want to see him leave Cleveland, really.
No, it's true. And I think he's only 27 years old. So he's not the twilight of his career, up there. He's only 27. I'm pretty sure Tatum's also only 27.
I think Tatum's 26.
26. Okay,
Tatum's
so
young
yeah,
as hell.
so but that's the thing. Like,
Look,
it's funny the way we're
find
talking
it.
about Donovan is like he's
Tatum's 26. Yeah.
26. Okay, so the fact that the way we're talking about Donovan is because the way he looks on Cleveland, he's like he looks like the elder statesman in a
He's
way,
the
like
OG.
just like the OG, but he's in the prime of his career. Okay, like he's just like Tatum, he's just like Luka and all those boys. Like it's just he's not talked about enough. So giving flowers where flowers is due. If he was healthier, I think he would be even more dangerous against like any team, not just the Celtics. Shout out to Mobley. I think Jarrett Allen going down, he had to adjust because he's now taking that spot and he's shooting, I think, less threes now too than he was in the previous series. So he has to do that. And I think Isaac Okoro is kind of taking the Mobley spot, like the way they kind of run things and the way they handle their offense and defense. So they all just gotta kind of keep going. I think Karis LeVert played well last game too. So you need help, right? Like if everyone gets 10 plus points and then your two big guys, get their usual, like just take over, you have a chance at winning. Now, the Boston side, other than the fact that what you said, like, it's so weird. I don't know if it's like a Joe Mazzulla, like he just philosophically just try to think about everything in this way, but maybe sometimes you should just like narrow it down and be like, hey guys, it's Jaylen Brown or Tatum. It's Tatum. And if not, then it's Brown. And then everyone else chuck it up because there's 2 seconds left in the shot clock. Like, or like run plays with them, right? Like, or if, you give it to your point guard, but then get them shots. Like you should be doing that because
they don't even have a point guard. They don't even have a point guard. So that's why like run your offense through your superstars.
No, but like either way, no, but like the main point is they should get their shots up.
Yeah,
and there's clips now of Tatum is just a screener. Go screen, Gore-Touch screen, all those terminologies. He's doing that. When I use the word Marcin Gore-Touch. Shout out. But like, why is he doing that? That makes no sense. Like you're Jason Tatum. You're what, fourth in every? No, he wasn't fourth. He was like sixth, I think. Brunson was fourth. Brunson was fourth.
Brunson was fifth.
Yeah, no.
Who's fourth?
I will pull it.
Giannis was fourth. Giannis was fourth.
Yeah. But still, but like you were the best player on the best team in the league. It should count for something, no? Like we always yell at LeBron and AD. We're yelling at everyone. Embiid, you got to shoot that, this and that. So he needs to ask for the ball, and the coaching staff needs to run the plays for them, for him, not even them. And that's the problem. And it's weird. Like if you want to go in a systematic route when it comes to the Boston Celtics, whatever, all lives matter, you dubbed it as all lives matter offense, which is hilarious. But if you're gonna go that route, I guess in the long term, it might show up. Because you know what that reminds me of? Like the especially the clips of Tatum doing those screens and stuff. I saw a clip the other day of like the Spurs, like San Antonio.
Yeah.
And like it's just like, they're the best team. Like as a team, like just so formidable. Like I saw, there was Manu Ginobili to Tim Duncan to Marco Bellinelli, like the just ball movement. But the thing is, Tim was still the cornerstone of those teams. Like whether it's the 2000s to the 2013, like it's going through him until obviously he gets to an age where like Kawhi and them kind of take over. So that's cool. But it's Tim would still, get his shots, get his things, no matter what.
Tim at 26 is getting his numbers,
Exactly. Yeah. If you go look back at it. So if you're going to do that stuff, cool. But make sure your star is the first one, especially when you're in trouble. When you're in trouble, this is why you have superstars. This is why the Raptors in 2019 and then had Kawhi Leonard to like bail us out. Please do something.
Yeah.
Without Kawhi, we're not beating Philadelphia 76ers. Like that whole thing Fred said in those interviews. And it's facts. So in this case, yeah, okay, maybe you want to punch in the face to wake up. Cool. But if we're gonna talk about anything, it's like Boston, like Tatum. If you want to be, I don't know if he wants to be him, but he has the talent to be it. And that's what. Forget about the accolades. It's about winning. So just win in that way. It's the most tried and tested formula. Superstar shows up, you have a pretty more than 50% chance of winning, especially if you're the best superstar in the series.
I will say this about Tatum's game just in general so far through the playoffs. He's been it looks like, I was talking to my friend Jack about a Boston native. He was telling me like he looks so checked out. Like, like he looks like it's like I don't care until it's June because the people won't care until I'm in the finals again. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it seems like that. Also, this other thing, if you want to talk about specific play, Tatum, stop doing this thing where you always extending your arms to try to go get a foul. Just shoot the ball, man. He does this thing where he's driving into the paint and he'll do the Harden thing where he'll pull out his arms to try to like get a foul instead of taking an actual shot. And it's like, dude, the refs are not going to call that every time. And the refs have been calling it. Funny enough, he shot like 11 free throws last game. But, dude, like, go get your buckets. You're just ruining your efficiency. You can go get buckets. You're Strus guarding you, you know? Like, you can – that shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue, you know what I mean? And it's not like, you know, Mobley's elite. I love Mobley, but really Mobley's deterring you from, you know, getting to the paint.
That's the thing.
And that's the thing with the rest of the team, right? Like, they're so reliant. They love their three-pointers. And Bickerstaff even said, I'm not letting them get up 43s a game. That's the goal of the team. That's the goal of the Cavs. Run them off the three-point line. I don't care. Get them, make them drive into Mobley. And my last point about the Cavs is stop playing Niang. He is a black hole. They played him. They're up 6 or 8. And they benched Donovan Mitchell. Niang comes on. The Celtics went on a 22-5 run because of Niang. So many random turnovers, so many brick threes. He's overweight, out of shape. He can't move. Like,
well, he always looks like that. But like it's not a good matchup for him.
Just stop playing him. He doesn't work in this series. Play literally. I don't know why he's not. You know, go to Morris, go to Thompson. They both are giving you way more minutes. Don't play Niang, man. Just don't. He's a black hole. That's my last point on that team.
Oh, fair enough. This series is interesting because of the firepower we have. I mean, Boston being the best team, and you know, Donovan Mitchell is just so fun to watch. It's not just like shooting, by the way. Like he drives so well, and he's so bouncy. Like the way he just like, and you know, when he like kind of things the ball, cuffs the ball, and then like does those crazy layups, and just he like you forget that the athleticism he has, and also he's operating at not 100%. So it's just like cool to see. It's just so cool to see. It's so that series, you know, that finishes off the Eastern Conference. Moving on to the West, where we have, you know, like lots of heavyweights just throwing haymakers, I think. So we have OKC and Dallas first off, and I think they just finished game 2 last night. And what a series so far. Yeah, what a series.
That series has been really fun, you know? Like game 1 and game 2, we saw 2 different things. We saw great coaching adjustments from both sides. You know, in game 1, if you want to talk about game 1 only, Mark Dagnall did this thing did this thing where they literally, we were talking about this yesterday. As we were watching the game, I was explaining it, but like the strong corner, the defender, whoever that OKC defender is, if it's Shea or if it's Wiggins or if it's J-Dub, whoever that strong corner defender is ever, Isaiah Joe, they will literally forgo the corner. Like if there's Green, what's his name? Josh Green or PJ Washington or Exum or whoever's in that strong corner, they will forgo it because they don't want to give up any pick and roll drives from Luka and Kyrie. They said, no, we're going to get the others to shoot the ball. And in game 1, the others couldn't hit anything. And Luka couldn't really set the tone early, which is one of my points here. And then going into the second game, what did the Mavs do? Luka set the tone early. Luka had 11 points, 13 points in the first quarter, I think.
Yeah, like the first half he had like 18 or something.
Yeah. I think so. Like set the tone early, get your big mans going. And I was saying that we said this last pod. I thought Chet is the biggest mismatch in the playoffs right now. But Gafford bullied him, man.
Last game,
Gafford was beating him up last night, like straight up, like any type of body contact, anytime you're going up for a rebound or anything like that, it's a little elbow, it's a little shove, you know, just wearing and tearing him down. And Chet, as you can see, rookie, skinny guy, you know, body not fully built yet. He got wear down last night. Like, you know, he shot really bad last night. I think he shot like 3 for 19. 3 for 19 was it? Or
4 for 12.
4 for 12 last night.
Not
you know,
good.
Not a great series, just +1. And then everybody else, like Lou Dort had a bad game last night. Dortcher Chamber is dead. Like Luka said, you know, I'm not messing with it anymore. It's over. And then the biggest problem in this team right now, and Mark gotta bench him. You can't play him. You can't play Josh Giddey. You can't do it. I think he's a -20 in the series right now overall.
Right.
Which is insane. Like he's just playing. Anytime he's on the court, the Mavs kind of hunt him, and they're, you know, going on runs. And on offense, he's a ball stopper. And OKC don't really want to stop the ball like that on offense. You know, other than Shea ISOs, they're not really trying to stop. They're trying to get going, trying to get downhill, trying to get in transition. And Dallas essentially, anytime Josh Giddey's on, they're taking advantage of that. Or And also, they said, like, guess what? We're getting all of our defensive rebounds. Like, Gafford, you have to get all the defensive rebounds. I think
Luca,
the two
all of
players
them.
that are unplayable for both series kind of is Giddy on one side and
Yeah,
then Lively on the other side. I don't think Lively should be playing in this series either. I think
right.
Chet kind of bullies him in this series because he's just not physical enough and he's just not versatile enough for
In his
him.
game, yeah.
Defensively, at least like Gafford is like, defensively he shot blocks really nice and he's really aggressive. Like plays with a lot of pace.
Yeah.
And last point, Luca, please stop whining. That's it. That's my only criticism from you. Stop crying all the time, man. Please, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And go ahead.
No, I think so. For me, like based off that, like it's true. I think Giddy is like he gets schemed out. Like he just gets schemed out. And even when he has the look, like I saw him miss a layup yesterday. So it's like he's nervous to go inside the paint, and I think that's his bread and butter, to go in the paint and then pass it off, or a floater, or layup, or whatever. In terms of Dallas, I think Jason Kidd did well to like game plan for the second half to like stop them. I think it's funny enough, and this is just off watching the two games, not like the entire 82 game season. Oklahoma City Thunder, I feel like they're more dangerous, and it's weirdly enough because it's the modern game now, and it shouldn't be this way. They're more scarier when they're having their ISOs. When Shea has that ball in the top of his feet, and J Dub, like I think those are the scariest moments for the Mavericks. If you're a Mavericks fan watching, or if you're Mavericks players, you're just like, oh no, like Island, right? Like I saw randomly Derek Lively was guarding Shea or something. It's like, wait, dude, you guys want this? Like this is the plan. And I also thought in the first half, the reason why they kept letting OKC back in the game is every time the Thunder would kick it out, the Dallas Mavericks, I think we talked about this, the Mavericks would just, overcommit so hard to like contest the shot, the 3-point shot, and they would just be like, oh, okay, thanks, I'm just gonna blow by you, and they're so much better at the mid-range and just attacking the rim. They're just gonna just dunk it or lay up, or just for Shea, it's just bread and butter. So they stopped, I think, doing that. And at the end of the day, PJ Washington had a hell of a game too. So he hit all his threes, and he fouled out at the end. But at that point, the game was over. Luka matched Shea. Luka also, like in the moments where Shea is gonna go like clutch buckets, Luka also hit those shots. Kyrie is interesting. I had a thought about Kyrie. He, like, you want him on the court because offensively, like especially with Luka banged up, like you need Kyrie out there. You don't want like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Derek Jones Jr. Shooting contested shots in crunch time. I'd rather have Kyrie just throw it up, regardless. So, but it's weird because Kyrie points wise, like I think he had less than 10, like 8 or something yesterday. But funny enough, him and Luka both, shout out to them. They have not let any team make them a defensive liability for an entire series yet. And that's crazy to think about because Luka's whole thing is, where's the defense, Luka? You pylon, this and that. And Kyrie, he's a little undersized. He's a little older now. And like, will he be a defensive liability? Especially with both of them. If it's just one of them, then you have like a wing or on a taller guard next to them that can play defense. It's like, it's not bad. Like that's normal. But if you have both of them, it's like we'll score 150, but give up 149. Like that whole thing. But Kyrie, I think he leads it's obviously a numbers thing, a box score thing, but like the fact that he leads the thing in steals, the playoffs right now, which is crazy because if you watch the game, he like does this thing so well where like, you get past him, but he times it. He taps it out. And Lucas started doing that too. That's effort to me. Like, look, you're gonna beat me probably because you're Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and J Dub and whoever. Like, you're just as good probably. With the ball.
Defense for those guys is pretty much all about effort. You gotta just show effort.
I know Luka does that thing too, where like they do the first dribble like under between the legs, and like he kind of puts the body on you, and like at the end of the day, people can be like, he's shuffling his foot, and then he make the contact, and the ref might call a foul, might not, who knows? He's Luka Doncic, but it's also 6'8", 200, whatever, like. It kind of bothers your rhythm as a
100%.
as a ball handler. So shout out to them for still being, defense, not being played out defensively, like not being a deficiency or liability on defense. And Gafford needs to keep attacking. And if Chad figures it out, then it's gonna be trouble. Because, but like, it's a confidence thing. Maybe it's like a big thing. And it's also, you're like, you look at Shea and the other guys, you're big bro. So you kind of defer. It's something Boston Celtics should do, defer to your stars. Not enough going on over there. So Yeah, so it's 1-1. You know, they're going back home
I
to
will
Dallas.
say this. I
Yeah.
will say this about OKC and Dallas. I feel like they gotta swap their game plans, maybe,
Mm,
because you know how you said they're overcommitting to threes for Dallas side. If I'm Dallas and I'm Jason Kidd, I would actually want to see, like, like Isaiah Joe and Casey Wallace are really good shooters, but they don't play that many minutes.
no.
J-Dub, Shea, Chet.
Yeah.
Chet's a good shooter. J-Dub, Shea, Chet, Dort. Like they're starting. Those are the core four. They're not
They're
high
not,
volume, high
yes.
efficiency shooters.
Yeah.
They're low volume, decent efficiency shooters, but you kind of gotta dare them to shoot. Like,
Thank you.
like at the end
Yeah.
of the game, if you watched it, like when Shea was trying to bring them back, Shea was doing his
Mhm.
thing,
Shea hit
but
the
Shea took like
three.
2 threes
Yeah.
before the one he hit, and
Yeah.
he clanked both of them. Like,
Right.
you kind of have to, see it to believe it. That's what OKC did last game, where for game 1, they're like, show me you can hit threes.
Yeah.
Then they didn't. Then game 2 is like, show me you can hit threes. They did. And now game 3, you're gonna switch it. I feel like Dallas should adopt that, where it's
That's
like,
what
look,
yeah.
I want to
Exactly.
see you shoot. Like, show me you can shoot
Yeah.
consistently. And then the second point that you brought up about Kyrie, I feel like Kyrie, funny enough, even though his numbers aren't so gaudy this series, like he's only at like 14 a game,
Mhm.
but his I don't know if it's like a presence thing, but
Presence. Yes.
the
Yeah.
flow of the
Yeah.
offense on the team, like
Smooth.
when Luka went to the bench and then they got a 10-point lead, they went on a 10-0 run. It was
Yeah.
just PJ Washington hitting threes, but
Yeah.
the flow of the team, the offense, just the way it flows when he's on the court with or without Luka, it feels much better. Like they just feel like they're scoring more,
Yeah.
even though
Passing.
he's not directly involved in the scoring.
Right.
So it's really nice to see that, because
It's
we didn't
cool.
see that. We haven't
Yeah.
seen that from Kyrie ever.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
It's really
when
cool.
Kyrie was in Cleveland and Kyrie was in
Boston.
Boston, like those are his main runs. The other ones he's been injured and whatever with COVID. But those two
Yeah.
teams, it was kind of like, if Kyrie's not giving us 20 points, like it's kind of over.
That's the thing. Exactly. Like with those runs with LeBron.
It's
If
that
he's not putting
maturity
up-
he showed,
Yeah.
though. Like, it's nice to
exactly.
see how much of he's grown.
It's the
He can
maturity.
impact the game without actually having the ball in his hands.
Yeah,
Really nice to see.
it's real leadership. Like that's what I think. Like he's kind of providing not to Luka but to everyone else, and it's like a silent leadership thing. And it's funny because he started heckling with talking back with the fans, which is fire. Like it just shows that he signed the contract. He's here. Like I want to win with you guys, and the Luka's team, cool. But like whatever I can do to help, like it's just really good to see. Like he's just all-time great player who's just impacting the game in a different way. It's like, and we never thought we would say that about Kyrie, right?
Never.
Like it's
I will ask you this though, because I know the first 2 series in the East, we kind of both have agreed on the winner and we kind of know where it's going.
Yeah.
For this one, what do you think? Like, what's your prediction going forward? Like in this series, we watched 2 games. What are you seeing?
So for me, I think that I still think Dallas is gonna win, and like because I picked them to like on my prediction, because I just feel like unless Luka's knee comes off, like, and he just can't go anymore, which he said, like, it needs to be something like I need to not walk to be able to not play. I feel like, and like with Kyrie's leadership and everyone, it's just like to keep a calm presence. And you said even like if the role players, like game 1, if they're not gonna hit, Dallas is screwed. But I feel like they can overcome this because of their. Not to say again, I'm not trying to say Thunder aren't formidable. They're 100% formidable, but they're still a young team, so they are still figuring it out. Like it's like, like randomly Shea started shooting those threes, right? And to that point, just quickly, if Shea can probably hit those, like if he's open, this and that. But if throughout the whole game, if you're not shooting those those shots feel weird to you. They're not.
I have a note right here.
Yeah, run.
I have a note right here that says confidence in taking threes underneath OKC. It's exactly what you're talking about. Confidence in taking threes. They are never. They other than Isaiah Joe, Casey Wallace. The actual 3-point shooters, all of them always are hesitating when they're taking threes.
They do. They it's like a pause, and then it's like, so if Dallas, that's what I mean by committing so hard to contesting the shot. Let them shoot it, give you a rebound, go the other way, and maybe you'll get some leak outs too, and just get some fast break momentum points there too. So I think Dallas kind of has them back, and they're going back home, so they have everything to take control of the series. Now it's a big test for Oklahoma, and you're, again, you're not versing like no Zionless Pelicans, like Zionless Pelicans. You're versing this Dallas Mavericks team that just want it as much as you do, and if not more. because like Luka's been farther. That's all. But like, so that's pretty much my prediction. I still think it can go up to. No, I said 5 or 6. Honestly, I think it's treading still. So like, let's see.
I'm gonna still stick with my pick, OKC, but that last game showed a lot. I think the X factor for OKC, if they want to win any games, is Chet gotta be the second best player in there. You can't be being outplayed by PJ and Gafford. You just cannot have that. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the next series we have is the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Everybody laugh at Jokic. Ha 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 ha.
The mountains hype. What was it called? Altitude hype. Yeah, that's what Minnesota said.
Bro, Serbia boring as hell, bro. We don't give a damn about no
the whole altitude, it's hard to breathe up there. It doesn't matter.
Did you see the thing? The Nuggets jersey 5280.
Yeah,
that's the altitude.
Yeah,
the score at one point was 52-80 Minnesota. They were trying to mimic
the script. No, for this series, I'll just start it off. First of all, shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rudy did not play game 2. It sounds like I'm super excited, but it's just to see. Like, I have a lot of respect for the Denver Nuggets, obvious reasons, bias reasons, and like just as a team as a whole, objectively, such a good team, well coached, balanced. Whether their bench is there or not, like they just know how to, they just have the pieces usually working. Chris Finch is also hurt. I'm sure. Okay, he's still coaching, but their assistant coach, by the way, Lakers should we should take a look at that, brother. But in terms of Minnesota, they just schemed it so well, but everybody's just so locked in. And Edwards, man, oh my gosh, two-way player, this and that, like
it's nuts, man.
The All-American kid, like he's just doing the shrug, like it's just like, whoo, he's so like he's him, like he's just playing his like mind out, and I don't think it's like what you call it, like it'll come back down to earth like that, because I think this is he's a superstar in the making, or if he is already. Shout out to Karl-Anthony Towns, man. He not just on the box score or like the numbers, but as a leader, I was thinking this, that like, Ant is like the face, and he even said it, his words, when he went on First Take and all that. But he's just, just a calming presence, even though he's the number 1 overall pick and everything. And he could have the ego, even though he doesn't have the level of maybe Anthony Edwards or the potential of that ceiling, but he's just been such a calming presence, and he's taking it to Jokic and them. Like, he's like, let's go. Like, I'm in this too. And they got to not just scheme for Ant. They have to watch out for Carl too, like Karl-Anthony Towns, who's playoff wise is not historically been the best, but he's saying, no, like I'm here too. And just everyone as a whole, like, I'm sure you'll get into it, but that defense, man, like they are bothering Jamal Murray. And I do have a question about the whole defense thing, but like, let's just get our takes off first. Like, Jamal Murray is getting hounded. Like you said in the beginning of the playoffs, how they hunt like wolves, like pack of wolves.
Yeah, they're literally like a pack of wolves.
It's literally what's going on.
They literally are a pack of wolves.
Yeah.
But
go on.
So if you want to look at this, let me put it in perspective. Let's do some X and O's. Let's just go at that. Yeah. If you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, they are just way more athletic than the Nuggets. I think that's like the biggest like factor of this series is that 1 through 5, whoever's playing on the Wolves, they are just like twice as athletic as whoever they're going up against. So the defensively, like vertically, like like we said this about the Lakers series, like when you're playing against the Nuggets, you want to go vertically. You have to beat them vertically.
Yeah.
When you're getting to the paint, you have to jump. When you have to shift your feet. You have to rotate your defense. The defensive rotation on the Wolves is insane. They can switch anything. They can double anyone because every single person. This is not an athletic thing. This is a locking in on and believing in your coach thing, your coach's system. Every single player on that team. So there's this play, Carl, where that play where everyone keeps showing with Jamal Murray getting hounded on a double team, and he's like begging to the refs and
right
crying.
When he crosses,
and there's and Jaden on him.
Yeah.
If you watch that play in totality, you can see Naz Reid, Ant, and Cat. Those are the only 3 players left on defense, and there's 4 other Nuggets. The way they rotate from the short corner to the strong corner to the 45 to the top of the
Yeah.
key on the rest 4 players, it's 3v4. I feel like that's the new way of the NBA, because you can't really get away with doubling, and everybody can make the skip pass, everybody, and there's a whole lot of ball movement in the NBA now. There's not a lot of black hole basketball. It's a lot of ball movement now in the NBA because it's a lot more team play, because everybody's really good. And to counter the Nuggets, last year that was their biggest factor, where it's like, look, our team ball is just so insane. We move it so well. We're going to find your hole. So the way you counter that is, look, we're gonna just out rotate you. We're gonna know where you want to pass the ball, and we're gonna get there every time, which is limiting Jokic so much. He had 5 turnovers in the first half of the last game. I think he ended with, let me pull it up here. He ended with He ended with 7 turnovers last game. 7 turnovers.
Uncanny.
He's a minus 11 for 25. It's the same thing with Jamal Murray. My problem with we're seeing the flaws of Jamal Murray, why he's not a superstar, why are we always asking, he becomes this playoff riser, blah blah blah. It's because he cannot score one-on-one. He is like bound. He needs a screen to score. Like, you can just see it. Well, and in the playoffs, when they're showing help and they're doubling, the way the defenses work, you have to figure out. You have to have some sort of isolation scoring. Yeah. And that entire Nuggets team does not work like that. They work off of, look, we're gonna set a back screen here. We're gonna do a rotate here. We're gonna fly over there. Jokic is gonna do a skip pass over here, and then Michael Porter Jr. KCP's open. Yeah, but when the Wolves are so athletic and can rotate so much, it gets really bogged down to, look, you got to score one-on-one. Yeah. And other than Jokic, the rest of the team, can they really score one-on-one? Michael Porter Jr., he can't even move to score one-on-one like that. KCP, his pull-up midi, everybody's living with that. Yeah. And then Aaron Gordon, he can't score one-on-one. He's the only athletic player on their team, but he has no bag on offense. Right. So it comes down to Jamal Murray and Jokic to make some sort of offense, but Jamal Murray needs that screen. And Jokic on the post-up, they're going to send the double. And when they send the double, the problem is it's not the Lakers. This is not Austin Reeves and D'Lo on the rotations. It's Nah and Cat and Ant and Jalen and whoever else comes off the bench, because they have the same players that keep rotating, just have different last names. I think that's the biggest reason why this series is already 2-0. Number one, you mentioned Ant's out, clearly the best player in this series. Number 2, Cat's clearly might be the second best player in this series. And then number 3, the Nuggets are just not athletic, and the Nuggets have only one person who can consistently score in isolation.
Right. And so my thing with that also is that it's so funny, though, because it kind of seems hopeless, because the last series with the Suns, they're all isolation scorers. And Frank Vogel's not coming up with some next level scheme on offense. So, but then they rotate and they just make it difficult for the person. And now here it's like, don't let the Denver Nuggets feel comfortable. As soon as they cross half court, or even right before that, just
94 feet,
bother
every time,
them.
Every time.
And everyone else know your thing. And it's a lot of it is judgment, because at the end of the day, you're one man down or two, because they, like you said, there's only 3 people with 4 Nuggets. But you have to make the right judgment call. But if you just put the effort in and not just ball watch, it just look at the levels in the execution. And sorry, go on.
When you're hurrying up somebody, exactly. With the doubles and everything like that, you make them play at a faster pace. It's hard. They can only make the simple decision. And so the Wolves only need to think about the 1 step ahead. They don't need to think about the 3 steps ahead, which is low-key showing Jokic's flaws a little bit, because he's being sped up a lot. They're speeding him up. They're like, go, go, go. You got to score now. I'm going to rob you. I'm just going to take the ball from you. I'm going to block you. I'm going to force a turnover. You're going to take a bad shot. And they're speeding up the thinking process. And I feel like this is the first time the Nuggets have faced something like this.
Sure.
which is also going toward the fact that this is the first time that they have yet to beat a 50-win team ever in the playoffs. If you want to
Very
talk about
interesting.
that,
But I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a question. I have two questions.
Yeah.
The first one, because you brought up Jokic, and for Jokic, do you think he figures it out? Like, not win the series, obviously, but like obviously his numbers are a little looking weird, and it's just the gameplay. It's not, he's best player in the world. We all agree on that. So, do you think the best player in the world, paces, gets the pace back and all that stuff?
I think there is a way for the Nuggets to win this. Get a couple of games in this series, but I honestly don't. I think it comes down to not more so like Jokic got to empty the clip. That's first of all. Like, you got to just go out there and be like, look, I'm scoring 50. If anybody wants to come along with me.
Which he's capable of.
Which he's 100% capable of. The second thing is, though, my biggest worry is Jamal Murray. Like, is he healthy enough? Or is he like, because I know he's hurt, banged up a little bit.
Yeah.
But also the Wolves defense is he is getting played off the court.
Yeah.
And they're and a person like him, it's funny, it's weird with Jamal. He's a really emotional player. So you can even see in game 2 when they, got a couple ticky-tack fouls and, a couple turnovers and, they're down 10 already in the first quarter. And then, the antics start going on and, they get too over emotional. So I feel like this series has turned into a big punch in the face. To the Nuggets. Like, they're so stunned right now, and they're at home for 2 games.
So weird.
I'm not, it's crazy. So like, I'm not like, this is not like that OKC or even that, even the Knicks series, even if the Knicks are 2, I still give the Pacers a shot to win a game. Dude, the Nuggets might get swept. I honestly think that, like you said, if Jokic can get his numbers, but I don't know if Jokic can do enough for them to win maybe even a game. 2 games at home in Minnesota. That's gonna be tough. This is their game 7, this tonight's game is their game 7. If they don't win this game, it's over. Sorry, one second.
Yeah,
but yeah, like, and Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, KCP, Christian Brown, Reggie Jackson, Justin Holiday, like, they're just guys that work well in the Denver offense, but the Denver offense isn't working. So Mike Malone got to come up with a different scheme. They got to try to get Cat in every action. I think that's the number one person you have to go at because he's going to foul. But
right.
But yeah, like, you have to try to get Cat in every action. But other than that, like, it's not even a defensive end thing with the Nuggets. It's really an offensive end thing. I think their defense is fine as is.
When you say that, it like, just to top off that, when you said, Jokic emptying the clip, but will it be enough because the offense isn't flowing? And because Minnesota just played it to perfection. For me, it kind of takes me back to, I don't know why I just thought of the 2022 playoffs, but then that was a series, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he didn't have this help though, like the supporting cast. And they lose 4-1 to the Warriors. But he gets his numbers. I think it was like 31, 13, 31, 13, and 5.8 assists per game. Okay, so 6 assists and all that. And he emptied the clip. We can't say it was fair necessarily because it was a first round series. He had no help in that regard, no Jamal Murray in that. So cool. But in this sense where it'll be wild to see a sweep or like 4-1 even, gentleman sweep, because he has the players. Now, Jamal Murray's calf, shout out to him for not like just talking about it 24/7, but at the same time, like, it's like the rest of the guys are there. This is their team. Like, this is what they believe can win a chip. And that everybody was saying that probably them or Boston. So it'll be so interesting if they can't, like, tweak their game plan. And like, because I still think Mike Malone's a good coach. Like,
I think they're good enough to tweak the game plan.
Yeah.
I honestly, like, other than, like, I've really been trying, like, to try to see, like, what flaws they can execute, get at. But it's really, really hard. It's not like, and it's not like any of the role players from the Minnesota Timberwolves are playing above average. Like, it's not no PJ Washington game. Naz Reid is, had a fourth quarter where he scored 14 points, but even then the series, that game was kind of over going down to it. Everybody's playing how it's expected. Ant's the best player on the team. Cat's playing really good, averaging 24 a game.
Yeah.
Everybody else points wise, they're at their season average or even below. Rudy didn't even play last game, and their defensive effort and their defensive rotations and their defensive schemes, it's all from the regular season. Nothing is new here.
Nothing's new. Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking. That's why I'm like, I don't know. Also, Jokic, you're gonna have to make some threes. I think that's the number one thing that Jokic has to do is he's gonna have to make those rainbow ridiculous threes that he hit on us all the time.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
If you want to talk about it, the Nuggets black magic, it only works on us or something because like all the random rainbow ridiculous shots that they all take all the time, none of them are hitting now.
Yeah. So no, I'm excited to see Game 3 tonight. I think it'll be like the series is interesting, right? Like
I'm changing my take completely.
Like it's gonna be interesting to see. I still think Denver figures it out. I think maybe I'm just giving them a little too much respect, but I see what they can do. Yeah. Exactly. Like again, who knows? What if the law of averages happens and randomly like everybody comes back down to earth, and like things happen like that. So yeah, no, I think it'll still go the distance. At this point, Minnesota looks to be in the driver's seat. We'll see how
today's game 7 though. Today's game 7 though for sure. I think today is game 7. Like if they don't win this game,
it'll be interesting.
It's over. They won't. No team has ever come down for 3-0, but it's not even that. I think they'll just be so demoralized where it won't work at all. So that's
And so and that's the Denver and Minnesota series. And so.
Well, that was really cute. You should keep that clip. my body wasn't in it either.
But yeah.
Okay,
so that
you want me to close it off? You're distracted.
Okay, we're back. No, go for it. Let's see.
So that's the playoff series so far for all 4 series that we've been seeing so far. If I have any other tidbits I want to say just quickly. 2 things. Teams got to be good at rotating defenses is a general playoff thing. Teams got to be good at rotating defense, and isolation scoring matters way more than we think it does. Other than that, thanks for joining us again at Ridgeway Pod. Make sure to subscribe and follow all of our socials.
Yeah,
and that's it, guys. We'll be back for another episode, hopefully before the series is in. We'll see how all the series go, but hopefully before that.
Yeah. See you next time, and take care.